Everybody, and welcome back to the United Stand and welcome to 2024. We are joined with our first 2024 show with Fabrizio Romano. The January transfer window is upon us. Fabrizio, thank you for coming on the show.
Thank you as always. Happy New Year to all your followers, and thank you again for the invitation.
Yes, another year, Manchester United starting afresh now in 2024. I wish we could start the season again, to be honest with you, but here we are. January transfer window, we've got a lot to ask you. I'm hoping there's going to be some positives. There's a few rumours going around, but we'll start off with the reports coming out that United have made contact to ask about the potential cost of Timo Werner. We spoke about Werner before on the show. How likely is that deal, and would it be a loan deal?
Yes, in that case, I don't see Manchester United spending big amount of money on a striker in January. I think in case they will do something, it could be an opportunity, so potentially a loan. And Timo Werner is one of the players they discussed. We already mentioned that multiple times. They had meetings with his agents. They have a good relationship with his agents. They obviously know the player so well and believe that he could be one of the options, not the only one, because there are multiple opportunities. So contacts on player side took place. From what I heard, still no contact on club side with Leipzig. So it's still something at very early stages and only on player side, and also involving other players, because as I said, I think he's not the only one, Timo Werner, in the list. And I think it will take some time before Man United will decide, okay, this is the player we want in that position. So at the moment, it's just about inquiries, speaking to agents, but still nothing concrete.
There was also some rumours going around that they were looking at other low-cost strikers like Choupo-Moting. Is he another one that's on the list?
Yeah, he could be another one. He could be another one because Choupo-Moting is not finding any space at Bayern. They have obviously Harry Kane always playing. Then there is the very talented boy Mathys Tel, who is always coming on. So it's not easy for Choupo-Moting to find space. And this is why he could be an opportunity on the January transfer window. He's also not traveling for the AFCON. And this is a very positive news for all the clubs interested in a player like Choupo-Moting. So for Man United, it could be one of the opportunities. I would also add a player like Donny Mullen, who is different kind of striker. So they have to decide internally, obviously, with Ten Hag, with the coaching staff, whether they want to sign a traditional number 9 like Choupo-Moting or different kind of player like Donny Mullen, who is more kind of player who can be used as a center striker, but also as a winger in some moments, as he did for Borussia Dortmund. So they are still considering different options. Choupo-Moting could be one of them.
Okay, thank you for that. And then still on the course of Bayern Munich, there was also reports coming out, which I struggle to believe is true, about Thomas Muller coming to Manchester United as well. Is that one that could be on the cards?
No, I also heard these rumors. It was also in November, in December, then again today. But from what I'm hearing, Thomas Muller is 100% staying at Bayern. This is why he decided to extend his contract. So it's never been something concrete for Manchester United. Also because I think they want to invest on different kind of player. Even if it's going to be a solution for just 6 months, they believe they need something different. Obviously, Thomas Muller is super respected, super appreciated, but he's not on Manchester United list for January.
Perfect. Thank you very much for that one. And then lastly, when it comes to the striker options, there was some reports that came out earlier that Guirassy would only be an option if Manchester United could be able to sell players because the budget is really low. Are Man United just restricted to loans in January unless they do sell players because of the regulations and because of financial fair play?
Yeah, I think this is the case, and it's also because they don't have so many important options available in the January transfer window. It's not easy to find top players available in January, so maybe, you know, if you find an opportunity, maybe you can be creative, you can try to find the right formula to do a loan deal with an obligation to buy close or something like that. But in this case, there are not that kind of opportunities. With Guirassy, it's not possible to do a loan with obligation because the only way to sign Guirassy is to go in Germany and trigger the release clause and bring the player to England. So this is the only way. The release clause is still valid until the end of the window. So it's a very big opportunity, 17.5 million euros for a guy who's scoring a lot of goals in Bundesliga this season. So there are many clubs interested, including clubs in Italy, clubs in England. So there is a lot of competition for Guirassy. Man United had some conversations with people close to the player. So I would add him to the list next to Choupo-Moting and all the other names we mentioned. But at the moment, again, could be the most expensive option because the only way is to trigger the release clause because Stuttgart are still hoping to keep the player till the summer transfer window and then selling him in June or July.
Is there any other strikers' names we've not mentioned yet that have come up, or are they the ones that we're looking at right now?
I think these are the names. What we say is Mullen, Werner, Choupo-Moting. Also, we have to see what happens with Anthony Martial because this is an important point, I think, for this story. It's important to see if Man United can find a solution for Martial in the January transfer window or if Martial will only leave the club in the summer transfer window as free agent. This is another point. I see Martial leaving Man United in 2024 in any case, but we have to understand when he's leaving. So this is going to be an important point to understand if Man United maybe will have some more budget to invest maybe on a salary of a player or maybe on a loan fee or something like that, or if they want to continue like this.
And then there's also been some reports coming out about Mason Greenwood's future. Obviously, he's at Getafe at the moment and he's on loan, but there were some reports that he might go on a permanent deal with Barcelona interested, more likely to be the summer. But is there a chance that Greenwood leaves in January or the summer? What's Manchester United's standpoint on this right now? And is the truth in it that Barcelona and other Spanish clubs are interested in buying him?
Look, for January, nothing is going to happen. So what I'm hearing is that nothing will be decided now. Nothing will change now. Greenwood is focused on Getafe. This was possibly a great solution for all parties involved. It was not an easy moment, obviously, to decide for Greenwood in the summer, but they found the best solution. He's doing very well there. And so for the player, is obviously the best opportunity to continue the season there and then decide in the summer what's going to happen with Man United involved. So nothing is going to be decided now. It's true that clubs in Spain are very surprised with the level of Mason Greenwood, not as a player, but obviously he wasn't playing for a long time. And to see him having that kind of impact in a different league, in a different country, in La Liga, is never that easy for English players to go and make an impact. And so many important Spanish clubs are keeping close eye on the situation of Mason Greenwood. This is true, but nothing is going to happen now. No one contacted Manchester United to start a negotiation or presenting a bid. And so I think at this stage, everything is very quiet. The only focus is on Getafe. And then in the summer, we have to see what Man United will decide, also involving new people at the club, because we know it's a big moment for a change at Manchester United. New people will come to decide on the transfer strategy, and Mason Greenwood will be part of this decision. So they will have a conversation. They will involve probably the new directors. They will involve the manager. They have to involve many people before saying, okay, this is the best way for Greenwood. So I think we have to be patient on that one.
Okay, we'll wait and see on that. And then talking about Raphael Varane, who's currently at the club, there was reports coming out that Manchester United do want to offer him a new deal, but on reduced terms rather than extending his current contract, which is obviously 340 grand a week. Apparently, Raphael Varane feels like he potentially is being pushed out. What is this situation here? And one, does Varane want to stay? Is it likely he goes in January? Do you think they'll come to a resolution on this deal?
Look, it's a strange situation because, first of all, I want to mention once again how Varane has been always super serious. He had the opportunity to go to Saudi in the summer. It was a concrete possibility, and they're still interested in him from there. But Rafa Varane always wanted to continue in Europe. He wanted to play for Man United. He was really trusting the project of Manchester United in the summer when Saudi clubs called him. So the idea of Rafa Varane has always been to stay in Europe and to compete for Manchester United. Obviously, it's not been an easy first half of the season for him. So this is why it's also important to understand what happens now between Varane and United. From what I'm told, for Man United, there are only two ways. Or he leaves on a free in the summer, so not extending his contract by triggering the clause. Or if he wants to extend the contract, Man United could be open to that, but only with different wages. Man United don't want to continue on these wages with Rafa Varane. They want to reduce that. They believe this is too expensive. This is in general for Man United. They want to change their salary structure. They want to make something different in terms of long-term project also with INEOS. And this is going to be one of the points, important points for new people coming at the club to decide. So this is for Varane, but not only for Varane. So the conversation will take place. Let's see now what happens in these meetings, in these discussions between Varane and United on the contract. Obviously, it reminds a bit of what happened with David De Gea. So it's also on the player whether he wants to stay and accept Man United conditions or maybe try a different opportunity.
If they don't come to a conclusion, is there a chance he could leave in January?
I think if they received a good proposal, it could be a possibility. But at the moment, I'm not aware of any concrete or advanced negotiation. Then it's still the beginning of January, so let's see what happens.
Okay, thank you for that one. I hope he stays, but it'll be interesting to see what happens. And then on the centre-back front, I know it's more towards the summer we've spoke about on this, especially considering the limited funds, but Todibo and also Scalvini that we've been linked to from Atalanta as well. Where are we at on the centre-back front?
Yes, in this moment for Manchester United, the idea is to wait for Lisandro. So as you mentioned, the limited budget is a point, and also Lisandro returning. Obviously, Harry Maguire, Man United believe that they could be covered in that position with these players returning. So for January, this is the situation. But yes, Scalvini is a player they appreciate, they've been following, but Todibo is on a different position when it's about Manchester United list for present and future. Todibo was already in the list in the summer transfer window. Scalvini was not in the list in the summer. List for Manchester United in July, August was including players like Benjamin Pavard, Jean-Claire Todibo. These were the names. Then Harry Maguire ended up staying at Man United and nothing happened. But the idea was to sign one of those two centre-backs. And so Todibo remains on the list. Todibo is not going to Tottenham. The deal is almost collapsed. Tottenham tried. Tottenham had some conversation with Nice and with the player side, but this is not going to happen. And so for Man United, it could be an opportunity, if not for January, for the summer transfer window. Obviously, with INEOS Group, this could be a good opportunity for Manchester United. There is also people at INEOS that believe that Todibo could be the perfect centre-back for Manchester United's future. So they keep tracking him. They keep following him. Let's see what happens in January, because for sure there is a lot of interest in Todibo. But from what I'm hearing, there is a chance for Todibo to stay at Nice till the end of the season and then be again on the list at Manchester United in the summer. So it's a name that I would keep for Manchester United as a potential opportunity in 2024, probably in the summer.
Hopefully that does end up happening, because I know a lot of our fans really do like the look of this player. It's good for us that the Spurs deal looks like it's collapsed. But on to a few exits. Jadon Sancho, it feels like this situation can't go on any longer, but it doesn't seem like he's being linked to anyone in particular right now. Will he leave in January, and what sort of deal do you think it could be, loan or permanent?
Yeah, I think the final part of your question is the crucial one, because it's on Man United now to decide. For Jadon Sancho, it's still the same. For Man United now, it's time to decide whether they want to accept loan opportunities or they want to keep waiting. If they wanted to accept a loan, maybe already at the end of November, beginning of December, they had the chance to advance on some deal, and maybe Jadon Sancho was already traveling to join his new club today or yesterday. But this is not happening because Man United insist that they want to wait for a permanent transfer, for an important proposal. Then we know that in the transfer market it's always like this, especially in the January window. You always try at the beginning to find an opportunity on permanent transfer, and then maybe in the final days you can maybe consider also the opportunity for a loan deal. So let's see what Man United will decide to do. I think in this kind of saga it's also important to see what INEOS will decide. We know that INEOS have the final say on what Man United will do in this January transfer window too. And this Jadon Sancho story is an important one for them and for people that they will put there to decide also on this kind of situations, on these kinds of important situations for the future of Man United. So I still believe that Jadon Sancho has a very good and concrete chance to leave Manchester United in January. I still see him leaving in January, but at the moment, to understand where he's going and what's going to be the formula, I think we still have to be patient, because it depends on INEOS, and it's an important one for them.
In terms of INEOS, like you've just spoken about then, is there any plans currently in place from Sir Jim and his team, and what's it like in terms of Ten Hag's job security? Obviously, pressure on now with quite a few poor results.
Yeah, I think now the crucial part is gonna be the conversation they will have with all the people at the club, including Ten Hag. So there will be an exchange, there will be a discussion, and this is going to be an important one for Sir Jim, but also with the people coming into the club, from Sir Dave to obviously Jean-Claude Blanc. All the people coming into Manchester United will have direct conversations with Ten Hag, with his coaching staff, with crucial people next to him to decide on the strategy. Ten Hag is very optimistic in public, but also in the private conversations, people close to Ten Hag believe that there is a very good chance to work together with INEOS. But obviously, these meetings are going to be important to decide on the future of Man United. And I think this is what they try to do also for other people coming to decide on the transfer strategy for 2024. Apart from this January transfer window, it's going to be quite special for United with this takeover saga now finally at the end, but also for the summer transfer window, they want to use the next months to build a new structure. So they are still discussing internally with all the people involved whether they want to make it with one director taking care of everything, or maybe to bring in 2-3 people to build a different kind of structure, and so to decide on different things altogether. So this is the idea of Sir Jim Ratcliffe, to take some time to build the structure and then to decide obviously on all the other details and to speak with the manager for the future project.
Thank you for that one. Lastly, I just kind of wanted to ask you, obviously Manchester United need to make some money in this January transfer window. Is selling some players to kind of make that money an option? Obviously, McTominay was someone who in the summer looked like could potentially go. Is he one that could potentially move, or is he staying put for now? Is there anyone that Man United are looking to move on?
Look, at the moment, from what I'm hearing, for McTominay, it's still the same situation as in the summer. But I think it's the same situation since a long time. If Man United receive an important proposal, McTominay could be available. But in case they receive a normal proposal, he's not available. So it's exactly the same of what happened with West Ham in the summer transfer window. They wanted McTominay, but the proposal was nowhere near to what Manchester United wanted for him. Man United believe McTominay is an important player in their rotation. He's a player who has always been appreciated by Ten Hag. And so if an important proposal comes, this could change. But at the moment, as of today, there is nothing advanced or concrete. So I don't think this is an easy one for the January transfer window.
And last question, this was from Mark himself, Goldbridge. He wanted to ask this one. David De Gea to Newcastle, is that something that we could see happen in January with their situation at the moment?
The guy is hoping for that. The guy is waiting for that. It's on Newcastle. I think on Newcastle, they are deciding on different things about the goalkeeper, about other positions, including the midfielder. So they're having internal conversations. They're very happy with Dubravka. He had an excellent game yesterday. So I'm not so sure they will proceed with a new goalkeeper, but the guy is waiting for that. The guy had possibilities with Saudi clubs in September. Also in the last couple of weeks, some club from Saudi called De Gea, but he's still waiting for a European opportunity. He wants to be back in Europe. And so let's see. If Newcastle will call him, he will be there ready to proceed with the negotiation because he wants to retire.
I'm sure that would be very interesting for Man United fans to see. But Fabrizio, thank you so much for all the amazing updates. Can't wait to do more of these throughout the January transfer window, and hopefully there'll be some positive news coming through. But thank you very much.
Thank you, and see you soon. Thanks a lot.
Thank you.
Ciao.
See you later. Bye.
Bye.
Bye. I need to learn how to get my Italian on so I can say goodbye in Italian on these shows from now on. But great updates from Fabrizio Romano. What a great... I mean, I think that was one of the best Fabrizio shows that we've had in terms of updates for a very long time. So I'm very happy with that. Let me know in the comments what you guys think. I feel like everyone's just kind of buzzing off the De Gea news right now and whether he could be going to Newcastle. I mean, Fabrizio Romano said himself that De Gea is waiting for it, and why wouldn't he be? If you were David De Gea, if I was David De Gea, of course you'd want that opportunity. You get to go back and play in the Premier League, direct rivals to Manchester United. I mean, it'd be very, very, very interesting, but I don't think he will go. Romano just said that they're very happy with Dubravka at the moment. They don't know if they want to go in that direction. I assume David De Gea would want quite a big wage. It'll be interesting to see how it plays out. If not, then we'll have to see. He's turned down Saudi. He wants a European opportunity. I know Mark wants him to come back to Manchester United on a loan until the end of the summer, and then he'd probably want to sign him permanently from them as well. But at the moment, we have got Onana. He's obviously going to AFCON. We've got to see how that develops. Onana actually did do an interview with Sky that came out earlier on today, talking about how Inter Milan fans weren't very impressed with him at first and now they love him, and that Manchester United fans will hopefully end up down the same path, and we've got to enjoy the difficult moments together, positive moments together. It's always going to be super hard to follow in the footsteps of someone who's been at the club for so long and been unbelievable for a lot of years at Manchester United. So it'll be interesting, but David De Gea to Newcastle, that would be absolutely hilarious, and it would make great content for Mark, I tell you that. So we'll have to wait and see what happens on there. Ciao. Ciao is how you say goodbye. Yeah, I know that ciao is how you say goodbye, but I wanted to say like an actual sentence, guys. I want to be able to put a sentence together. I'll get my Italian lessons on, but let's get through all of the news that came out from Fabrizio then, and let's just go through a little bit really quickly and just talk about it together. I want to ask you quickly, in terms of all of the striker options that Man United can go for, and it is depressing, just beware, guys, because it is depressing. You've got Timo Werner, you've got Marlon, you've got Choupo-Moting, and you've got Guirassy. There are the options that we're going for in January. We're not going to go for Solanke. We're not going to go for Ivan Toney. People can say it all day long. Would I love to go for Ivan Toney? Would I love to go for Solanke? Absolutely. I think they're both brilliant players, especially Ivan Toney. I think Ivan Toney's like a top-level player. Solanke, I think, looks like a very good player for Bournemouth. That's what Manchester United should be doing. But unfortunately, due to financial fair play, due to the fact that we can't sell anything to save our lives. Honestly, we just cannot sell players. We're at the situation where we don't have any money in January. Sir Jim's not really had a chance to come in and veto everything yet, so summer's going to be the main one for him. We're probably going to have big conversations, talks about Ten Hag's future, talks about the summer transfer window. January, for me, is just stopgap. We've seen reports coming out over Twitter and in articles coming out in newspapers saying that January for Manchester United, they don't want to make any mistakes on a permanent transfer like they have done in the past. They want to just get a few loans in, subsidise everything, and then the big plan is for the summer. I mean, how many times have we heard this in January, and then the summer comes along and the business, we look back on it in the following January thinking we should have done better in the summer, and now we're getting told the same story. So hopefully with Sir Jim and his team coming in, that will change. But for now, we are looking at loans. Unless something drastic happens and West Ham come in and offer like 40 million for McTominay, then I think maybe he would go. But unless that happens, we're not doing anything permanently. We're literally just doing loan deals, which is disappointing. But I say, you know, if you act like a small club, you're gonna have the success of a small club at the end of the day. Like, what club has a transfer window when they're in desperately need. What big club enters a transfer window when they're in desperate need of reinforcements, of improvements, because they're doing so poorly throughout a season, and their targets are Choupo-Moting, Werner, Guirassy, and I think we're linked to Muller, but that seems like it's, I mean, Romano said it's not true, but why are they our targets? Why? Like, if you look at that, they are so poor. We've done it time and time again. Like when Ole Gunnar Solskjaer thought we were going to sign Haaland and then we signed Ighalo. Like, we do it so often. And people say, well, Ten Hag signings. This has been happening for years upon years, especially in January transfer windows. But what loan striker would you sign? Because we've got to go for one of them, and you've got to make a decision on one of them. It's really is kind of, it's the best of a bad bunch, in my opinion. Guirassy obviously looks like a good player, but even him, you're not going to be able to get unless we sell players because of his fee, which is can't get him on a loan. You can only pay his release clause, like Romano said. So the fact we're even struggling to get the money together to pay 40 million, or sorry, is it 15 million release clause for Guirassy? That shows where we're at. If I was to go for any out of Werner, Guirassy, Marlon and Choupo-Moting, I would probably go for Guirassy. I would just take a punt on that. Werner, I've seen him in the Premier League. I know what he can provide. And for me, we don't need another striker that can't hit a barn door. I think we need a striker that's going to be able to run the channels, which Werner can, to be fair, but hold up the ball and be able to actually get a shot on target, be that sort of striker. So for me, Werner just isn't the one. Marlon as well doesn't really excite me. Choupo-Moting, obviously experience, would come in and probably score goals. But again, it just, none of them names excite you, do they? But I would probably go take a punt on Guirassy because he's having such a good season. But again, is it just a one-season wonder kind of thing with Guirassy? You do have to ask yourself them sort of questions. Let's see what you guys are saying in the chat. Someone says Ighalo coming. Marlon is decent. Marlon is decent. We saw him on pre-season tour when he played against Manchester United for Dortmund. But he's not the type of player we should be going for now. It's just the same thing. It's like if we got Timo Werner and we've got players that can do that. We've got Rashford. Do you know what I mean? Like, I don't want to really compare Rashford and Werner because they are different players, but they're the same in the sense of they are players with pace that can get in behind, but aren't out-and-out number nines, and would struggle in that Manchester United team to be involved, as we've seen Rashford struggle at number 9 as well. So I don't think we need that sort of player. I think we need like a number 9 properly. But let's talk about other things that have come up as well. With the Varane situation, I'm going to quickly speak on Varane. I honestly think I've got two different sides to this. And whatever side you're on, you're going to either, well, you're going to agree or disagree. That's just the way the world works. But I think you've got to think about this with a calm head when you're talking about it. I've seen Mark in the chat saying, won't extend Varane's contract on 340 a week, but we'll keep Rashford on 350 grand a week. And of course, that doesn't make sense. Rashford's not playing at a good enough level to warrant 350 grand a week at the moment. Varane has done very well recently. You've got to put in the back of your mind, he is injury prone. Varane's got the CV to back it up. I get all them. Varane's obviously a little bit older than Rashford as well. But in the grand scheme of things, realistically, should Manchester United be paying 340 grand a week for a player that is consistently injured? Varane, when he plays, there is absolutely no doubt that for me, he is top level. He's our best centre-back when he's on his best form. I think he's brilliant when he's on his best form. But he's injured too often. He can't last more than 2 or 3 games most of the time. Should Man United really be paying 340 grand a week for somebody that is going to be injured? Probably not. It probably is the wise decision as a club to try and take that contract down. Now, if we can get Varane on a reduced contract and keep him, that would be brilliant. One, you've saved money in wages, and we're starting to kind of get our wage bill in order, which is really important because it does need to change. We offer stupid amount of money, we do, and it's not sustainable. That's why we can't get rid of Sancho in January on a permanent transfer, and it'll end up being a last-minute loan. Romano says we'll have to see. It'll end up being a last-minute loan. No one's buying Jadon Sancho in January. I highly, highly doubt it, unless Jadon Sancho says, yeah, I'll cut my wage in half just to leave. It'll end up being a loan because of the wages he's on. We need to address our wage bill. Of course, I want to keep Raphael Varane. I know some people out there won't want to, but I do, because when you've got the likes of Lindelof and Maguire at the club, of course you want to keep a player like Raphael Varane, who I feel like leaps ahead of them. Really do. I really do. But if we could keep him on a reduced wage, I think that would be brilliant. That would be the perfect thing. If we end up letting him go, I'll be upset that Lindelof and Maguire are still there and Varane's gone. But we do need to try and change things. We need to try and change the structure of the club, and we need to do a complete rebuild. And a complete rebuild isn't continuing to offer ridiculous amounts of money. We can't be doing that. I've seen people today get frustrated that Reguilon's leaving he's having his loan terminated. Our standards need to be higher, and I'm not comparing Reguilon and Varane, because Varane is absolutely United quality and he can play for us week in, week out, but he is injury prone and he's not always available, and we probably do have to look for to the future for a right-sided centre-back that can play permanently, consistently, on a consistent basis. And if you're doing that, you're probably not going to want to pay Varane 340 grand a week. So that's kind of my consensus on that, to be honest. I don't think it's as poor as what people make out, that we're offering Varane a reduced deal. I think it makes sense, to be honest with you. If we were saying, Varane, no, we're just going to let you go, see ya, we're going to get rid of you, then I'd be annoyed and frustrated, because I'd be like, why are we letting Varane go? He's our best centre-back and he's still got more to give to United. He's loyal to Manchester United. He wants to play for Man United. Romano said all them things. I love that about him. He's the ultimate professional. He's a leader. He knows what it takes to win. Dressing room experience is so important. But at the end of the day, when you're looking to the future and looking to get another right-sided centre-back like Todibo in the summer, and you are injury prone, 340 grand a week isn't sustainable. So I actually do think it would be a good move if it pays off. If Varane ends up leaving, it'll be unfortunate, won't it? But it's a good move if it does pay off. Let me have a little look about what you guys are saying. Varane won't take a pay cut, a lot of people think. Do you guys think Varane will take a pay cut? Do you think he will? That's a question. I'm not sure he'll want to, but let me know. Where else is going to offer him wage apart from Saudi? Saudi will probably offer him that wage. Nowhere else will offer him that wage right now. So that's the thing that Varane needs to be having a little look at. I'm not saying go and put him on 100 grand a week. I mean, acting like that's nothing, because obviously that's so much money. But in terms of footballers, I'm not saying that. I'm saying, maybe 250. Like, just take it down a little bit. And 250 is still an unbelievable wage. It really is. So I think that will be a good deal if it happens. A lot of people talking about, is Ahmad going to AFCON? From what I've heard, Ahmad isn't going to AFCON. I know Sky put out a list of players going to AFCON. It had Ahmad on it, and that scared a few people. But I'm still under the impression that Ahmad isn't going to AFCON. But if there's any news that is changed, let me know. I think it'd be really disappointing if he did went to AFCON. Obviously, if he gets called up and he wants to represent his country, that is absolutely... Obviously, he's not going to do that. He's going to want to represent his country. But I would be disappointed from a Man United perspective, because I actually think this could be a really good moment for Ahmad to potentially get his spot in this team. Anthony is massively underperforming. Ten Hag's even recognising that himself. Substituting him. Apparently, he had an injury, but to be honest, I think it was just because he was playing poorly. Not been good, getting a lot of criticism. Ahmad comes on last game, really bright. Just come back from injury and immediately has that impact. Ten Hag clearly does quite like him. He was using him in pre-season. This is Ahmad's opportunity to maybe grab that right wing spot in this Manchester United team. So I'd be gutted if he did go to Ivory Coast on international break, but I hope he doesn't. Got a super chat in from Slow Spots News. Apart from Varane's injuries, he has been a solid defender, and with Martinez coming back, it'll be the wrong decision letting him go. Slow Spots News, I do not want to let Varane go, like I've just said. I appreciate your super chat. I want him to stay. Varane and Martinez, want to see that centre-back partnership so much. I think Varane's brilliant. I just think getting him on a reduced wage is the wise thing to do at this moment in time. When you look into the future, I think that's the wise thing to do. Looking at other things, so on centre-backs, let's just talk about Todibo for a second. Everyone in the chat, Todibo for Manchester United, how much does this excite you? Because it excites me a lot. The more that we've had time of stalling on a Todibo deal, because we've been linked to him for so long, the more I have time to go and research him, to watch him, to look at him. He just does look top quality. Spurs tried to go in for him this January. Romano said that. The deal's collapsed. Nice don't want to do it. Thank you, Sir Jim. Thank you for that one. But if this deal doesn't happen, I'll be absolutely gobsmacked. I'll be so shocked. Like, Sir Jim owns Nice. Todibo plays for Nice. Erik Ten Hag really wants Todibo. The scouting department at Manchester United highly rates Todibo. I'm assuming Sir Jim highly rates Todibo. He plays for Nice. Surely this deal has to happen in the summer. Apparently Todibo wants a Premier League experience. He would want to come to Manchester United. This deal has to happen. He's brilliant on the ball. He covers the spaces on the right-hand side excellently well. He'd be great in a system where you want to play inverted fullbacks, which is what Erik Ten Hag wants to do. He's physical. He's everything that you want, in my opinion. Okay, aerially, yeah, he needs to improve a little bit, especially in the Premier League. But he's such a monster of a defender. I would absolutely love to get him in, especially the fact of his age and how much potential he has. This is something I think will happen in the summer. If it doesn't happen, I'll be super shocked. It's got Manchester United written all over it. And unless Sir Jim comes in and his team kind of veto it and say, you know what, he's actually not going to be the right signing for us, which I doubt will happen. I don't understand how this doesn't happen. I was so worried he was going to go to Spurs. They've just signed Van de Ven, obviously last summer, who has been a brilliant signing for them. Got injured, is going to come back. Van de Ven's great. Adding Todibo to that is just scary, to be honest with you. So Todibo, please come to Manchester United and don't go to any other club. If Man United managed to mess that up, it would be absolutely ridiculous. We have to sign Todibo, in my opinion. I really hope we do sign him, and I think we will. Martial, I think, will go in January. I mean, he's been ill for like a month now. I hope he's okay, but I honestly doubt he's still ill. If he is ill, then obviously best wishes to him, and I hope he's okay. But it seems like there's something going on behind the scenes. When he left to go on loan for Sevilla, he didn't play and kind of got left out of the squad for a little bit. I think he's going to go. Man United aren't giving him a new contract. If he doesn't go in January, he's going to go in the summer. I think he's going. I think that's why we're looking at new strikers. Say what you want on that. Are any of the strikers we're looking at, Choupo-Moting, Werner, Guirassy, are any of them better than Martial, realistically? Probably not. Guirassy obviously is doing way better right now, and maybe he would be a better striker to play than Martial, but are they all any of them better players than Martial? Probably not. But has Martial absolutely had his time at Man United? Yes. He absolutely has had his time at Manchester United, and he needs to go. So won't be surprised when he goes. Interesting that Romano said that McTominay is still at the point in time where if somebody offers a really good deal for him, Man United would explore it. Because I was under the impression that because McTominay was getting used consistently and Ten Hag seemed to be absolutely loving him and wouldn't not play him, I was under the impression that he was now off the market. So the fact that Romano says it's still the same situation with McTominay, if a good offer comes into him, Man United are open to selling him, gives me a little bit of hope that that is kind of just a stopgap situation for Erik Ten Hag, and Erik Ten Hag is still looking towards the future of shifting McTominay out. Because that does need to happen. You know, people will talk about standards, and the standards do massively need to improve. I'm going to be honest with you right now. In that Manchester United team, there's only a handful of players that I'd probably be gutted if we sold them. The rest of them can go. They can move on. They're not good enough. So that's where I'm at right now. And newsflash, McTominay doesn't make the cut of players I'd keep. We need improvements in all areas. That's someone that we could get some money for. You know, the likes of West Ham would probably be all over something like that. And I'm just using West Ham as an example. A lot of clubs would be interested in McTominay. Maybe it is time to cash in on him in January or in the summer and get a good fee in for him and use that to invest into other players in the team. But interesting, we've got Martinez, we've got Casemiro, we've got Mount coming back in January, so hopefully they will be good injections of good injections of players into the squad. Players that we've missed. Obviously, we've not missed Mount because he's barely been available, but we definitely missed Casemiro and Martinez, so it'll be good to have them back. Like I said, I think Sancho will end up going on loan probably last minute because Man United will call the bluff all throughout the January transfer window. They'll be like, no, we just want a sale. No, we just want a permanent move. Sancho will sit there. He's getting paid 350 grand a week anyway. Last minute, they'll think this situation can't continue until the summer with him just training within the academy building and not being part of the squad on 350 grand a week. Let's do a last minute loan so he's at least playing football. We'll end up covering most of the wage. That's the way it'll go. I can already see it because this is Man United. This is Man United, and this is what happens. But that is all the updates that we've got from Fabrizio Romano. Very, very interesting stuff. Really enjoyed that show. Thank you everyone in the comments and in the chat for getting involved. Really do appreciate it. Make sure you hit a like on the video if you're happy with well, not exactly if you're happy, but you're interested in the updates that Romano brought. I wish I could be coming on the show saying Ivan Toney, Solanke, but that's just not the kind of club we are. I'm hoping that can change. Last thing I wanted to say is anybody who is Erik Ten Hag out and wants him to be sacked, very highly doubt anything will happen before the summer. you know, this is a transitional period for the club. I don't think there's anyone in there with authority to even sack Ten Hag yet. I mean, maybe Sir Jim and his team have the authority now, but I don't know exactly when it kind of kicks in. I know he's there for meetings today at Carrington and at Old Trafford, but they're not going to come in and their first action isn't going to be Ten Hag sacked, not even spoke to you yet. They're going to have meetings upon meetings. They're going to do a veto of everything. They're going to look into every department. They're going to look over everything. And then they're going to have a big meeting and they're going to consider every option and then they're going to decide. This, I think, will happen at the end of the window. So anybody who's like, sack the manager now. First of all, why? Because nothing will change overnight and we just get an interim in for the end of the season anyway. You might as well have a manager there that's going to hold players accountable and, you know, see what he's got until the end of the season. The season's pretty much wrote off anyway, let's be honest. So at this point, Sir Jim and his team, Dave Brailsford and the members of the team will veto everything, they'll have meetings and they'll decide what is the best step to take Manchester United forward. That might be sticking with Erik Ten Hag, that might be departing, but I think it will happen at the end of the season. I don't think anything will happen before the end of the season. It definitely won't happen anytime now anyway, in my opinion. But get in the chat what you guys think about that. Also, if you've not seen the Diary of the CEO episode with Dave Brailsford on Stephen Bartlett's podcast, it's brilliant, worth a watch if you're interested in that sort of thing. I think you should be. He's going to be a new director at Manchester United. But thank you everyone for watching. Have a lovely rest of your Tuesday. Welcome 2024 with open arms and I hope you have an amazing year. And yeah, I'm going to say goodbye. I'm going to say ciao everyone. See you later.